The new Survivor Faro Lady is finally here, and we're getting some more crossover news. Let's begin. Welcome back to another episode, guys. Let's get straight into what we're getting this week. And of course, this week we're getting the new Survivor called Faro Lady. She's available through the Essence, sadly not in the store yet. That comes the following week. I have already talked about her abilities in the past in previous episodes. I also did a stream where I tested out her abilities. All of those things you'll be able to find on my channel. But let's get into some of the adjustments, some buffs that she's had in the test server since I think last week. The adjustments that she got include these ones. Her cloak ability that makes her go invisible is adjusted from a 20-meter radius to an 18-meter radius when activating its effect, meaning that she goes invisible only when she's closer to the hunter than she was before. When the exposure meter is lower than 40%, so that's that little bar when she's visible, leaving the hunter's fear radius will not alert them. So before, if she kind of was invisible and she left the hunter's radius, she would alert the hunter of her location. Now, if she's below 40% usage of her exposure, then she doesn't alert the hunter. So this means that it won't accidentally trigger whenever you're kind of near the hunter. When the exposure meter is higher than 40%, the alert time is shortened by 1.5 seconds. When the exposure meter is lower than 40%, dropping pallets, vaulting windows, and decoding cipher machines will not get rid of the cloaking effect. So this is because before, whenever she was invisible, it would be interrupted whenever she did almost any interaction in the game. So now if your meter is below 40%, you can do these things with freedom and you'll still be invisible. Her dexterous external trait that made it so that any connected cipher machine she's connected to will lose 1.5% of their decoding speed has now been changed to 1% per second. So it means that you'll be able to decode for a little bit longer with that buff. Her rescuing debuff has been changed from 100% slower rescuing speed to 60%. So that's really good because now there, of course, there is a persona web that increases your rescuing speed by 40%. So it's not that much slower now. Pretty good. And they've also removed the visual indicator at the bottom of a hunter screen when Faro Lady is in range. So that's really cool. Of course, as we're getting Faro Lady, we're also getting Season 32 Essence 2 that's available, including the S tier for Faro Lady called Mark of Prey, the A tier for Naiad called Death's Head Hawk Moth, really long, talked about it last week. We're also getting the A tier for Weeping Clown called Naga, and some B tiers that should be, as far as we can tell, for Priestess, Photographer, Ripper, Enchantress, and also for Painter. And as for every essence, we'll also be getting some draw rewards that will be 3 portraits for each of the characters that are coming out with this essence. As for some more news that we're getting this week, we should be getting a ton of announcements, or maybe one announcement, for the anniversary that's coming up soon, as this week on the 14th, as far as we can tell, there will be an announcement happening. Maybe a live stream, maybe something like that, but that means that next week we should have a lot of exciting content to talk about. Let's move on to talking about some future content, because we've got some news about 2 crossovers. First of all, the Eggy Party crossover that we talked about last week, that is essentially Fall Guys. That will be happening on July 4th, this crossover, and it will include, that they've announced so far, Lucky Guy getting an A tier skin called Yeggy's Best Friend that you should be able to get free through the event, and a B tier pet called Yeggy's Mechanics Doll that I think is for all survivors, not just for Mechanic. I think that's just its name, and this should also be for free during the event. So this is very cool. Is this event going to be completely free? Hopefully. Some more Sanrio news, as a lot of people are excited about the Sanrio one that we should be getting on the 27th of June. That's the end of this month. We got a reveal of the name for Cheerleader's A tier skin, and the A tier skin is called Stunning My Melody. And we also got to see that she's getting a special accessory that's a B tier, not an A tier, and it's called My Melody. Looks like a pair of bunny sunglasses that she probably will wear on her face. This is going to be the 3rd or possibly the 4th pair of sunglasses we've got in the game that kind of put them on your face instead of on your hips, so that's pretty cool. We don't know what BQ's skin is called yet. I can imagine that they'll announce it on the day of this video's release or sometime this week, but we do know that it's going to be based on Kuromi from Sanrio, because of course this is a Sanrio crossover. What we also know about this crossover event is that part 1, all the skins and stuff like that from part 1, should be returning with part 2, so that's quite exciting for all those people that might have missed that content. And a rumor that we need to talk about is that people are talking about how during the global anniversary that should be coming very soon, the S tier skin will not be for hunter, but possibly will be for a survivor. Who? I don't really know. Maybe you guys already have some theories about who it could be for. See the video on the screen right now? You should go and watch it, because I'm pretty sure that's a good video that YouTube recommends for you.